On this episode of UTR, it's our first ever off-season spectacular, where we show you why sitting around and waiting for summer is silly. We'll take you to a gargantuan garden, a musical museum, and a place populated by penguins. Heck, we'll even show you how to properly prepare a pretzel. Get ready to explore the cool people, places, and things that make Michigan's off-season a great time to travel.
They say the perfect resting heartbeat is 60 beats per minute. We couldn't agree more, most of the time. Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the purest of pure Michigan.
There's something special about the pride, the skill, and the passion it takes to build something great. The Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, understands that passion and has been providing contractors with the resources they need since 1885. A visit to the Stalls Automotive Museum will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. In addition to beautiful cars, enjoy the collection of gas pumps, road signs, oil cans, and other car-related accessories. Info at stallsauto.com.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. And the more I explore, the more I realize it's the place to be. I'm Tom Dalton, and this is Under the Radar, Michigan. Now, we all know there's a ton of fun stuff to do in Michigan during the summertime, and you've seen a lot of it right here on your trusty UTR. But you know, a lot of the places you know and love are here for you all year long.
That's right. When it comes to enjoying all this great state has to offer, don't just sit around and wait for summer to set in. Get up, get out, and make more memories. Because many of Michigan's most iconic and even little-known locations are open and hoping you'll stop by. And to make sure we properly prepare for Michigan's side seasons, I once again teamed up with Pure Michigan's own main man and travel guru, Dave Lorenz. Because if you can do it in Michigan, this guy's probably done it.
Okay, Dave, let's say somebody just moved here from Schenectady. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah. Why don't you explain quickly what Pure Michigan does and how important it is to this state?
So what Pure Michigan does is we try to present what Michigan really is to people who live here and to people who might want to travel here for a leisure experience. And really, frankly, for people who might want to come here to live here or to work here or to invest here or to go to college here. But most of our effort is to try to encourage people to come here and enjoy just a little bit of what we get to enjoy every day.
Exactly. And you're probably the only person I know that travels the state more than we do. And like us, you travel year-round, correct?
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know, that's the thing that really differentiates Michigan from so many other places around the country. People think of Florida as a place to go in the wintertime, you know, to get away from winter. Well, in Michigan, we really embrace winter. That's the idea. We're a 4-season destination. That's what really makes this place really special when it comes to the out-of-doors experiences, is that you don't really ever get bored with our weather, because before you know it's going to change.
Well, why don't we start our off-season adventure at a place that celebrates everything that grows, even when it snows?
The Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park here in Grand Rapids is one of the most amazing places you can take your family any time of the year, because there's almost as much to do inside as there is outside. In the summer, it's acre after acre of plants, art, science, and natural beauty that'll make you stop, think, wonder, and if you're not careful, learn something. But to make sure the Meyer Gardens truly are a great off-season sight to see, I checked in with Laurel Gott. She's a genuine bona fide horticulturist, so I figured she'd know plenty about this amazing place. And as you can see, if you come during March or April, you'll get to experience tons of butterflies becoming, well, butterflies.
Okay, Laurel, first of all, why didn't you call me and tell me it was going to be this warm in here? I wore a sweater.
85 degrees.
I know, it's got to be totally awesome working in here when it's cold outside.
It is. It's just warm and welcoming, even though you can see the snow through the glass.
Now, you're a real horticulturist, correct?
Yes,
But you're also the butterfly expert here?
I am. Butterfly wrangler.
Oh,
Yeah.
what, do they get away?
Hopefully not. That's the goal, is to not get away.
How many different butterflies do you have here?
We get over 60 different species over the course of about 8 weeks, all tropical species.
Any endangered? Are they all,
Ours are all bred for us from farmers in mostly Ecuador and Costa Rica, but we also have some butterflies that we receive from Africa and tropical Asia. But all the species we have are doing very well in their native environment.
Yeah, what are these animals that are walking around here? What species are those?
We get lots and lots of visitors
Lots
in
of
March
Homo
and April.
sapiens? Yeah.
Yes.
And I have to ask before we go any further is what is the thing behind you that looks like a vending machine? It looks like you put a quarter in and you get a butterfly. What is that?
This is our new observation station. So that's the space where when we first receive pupae, they get inspected and inventoried and sorted, and then they go into the front emergence area where the butterflies actually come out of their chrysalis and get ready to fly.
Very cool. Now, what is this building we're in called? This is the...
We are in the Lena Meyer Tropical Conservatory. It's about 15,000 square feet, 5 stories tall, and we just fill it up with tropical butterflies in March and April.
And the plant species in here are bizarre. I mean, the stuff you can see, now I know why there's so many people in here, because it's beautiful, it's warm, and it's just a great place to go if you've got cabin fever.
Plants are weird, and it's nice and warm in here, and you get your green fix.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this isn't the only facility you have here at Meyer Gardens, right? When it's cold outside, that you can go inside?
Oh yes, we have a variety of different indoor greenhouses. We also have our children's garden, which has outdoor activities all year long, especially in the winter. And the sculpture gardens are always beautiful to walk through.
I was going to ask you if the sculpture garden is still open in the winter.
They're open all year. The paths are always cleared as soon as they can be, and the sculptures stand out more against the white background even, so.
I never, because we were here, gosh, it's like 6 years ago now in the summer and walked through the sculpture. It was incredible. But yeah, you're right. I mean, against a snowy backdrop, it'd be really pretty.
Yeah, get different perspective.
Right. Now, how long have you been here?
I worked at Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park for 6 years.
What's the most rewarding thing for you personally, having a job like this? Other than being warm when it's freezing outside.
I love working with plants, and I love when people come in the winter and they'll sit down on a bench and just read a book for a couple hours. And you can tell they just need that. They need to photosynthesize with the plants.
So long story short, if people are just sitting home watching television, they really need to get up off the sofa and come to a place like this and, like we were saying, learn something, enjoy some warm weather, and see some flora and fauna.
Yeah, call it like a taste of early spring when you come and visit here during butterfly season.
Perfect. Yeah, so get up off the couch and get out there and explore. Unless you're watching under the radar, that is, then don't you move.
The Lena Meyer Tropical Conservatory is a natural blast and a wonderfully warm place to escape to during the off-season. And watching these young kids and their families get so up close and personal with so many beautiful butterflies was downright magical. So remember, you heard it here first. And now for a second time on UTR, the Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park really is a great place to go whenever you are so inclined, because no matter the time of year, there's always a ton for you to do right here. Do I make myself clear? Okay, I'll stop.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were at the incredible Detroit Zoo? Was it hot out? Was it crowded? Did you burn your bald spot? You know where I'm going with this. How'd I do, guys? They loved it.
That's right, I'm subtly suggesting that you go to the Detroit Zoo when the summer crowds are somewhere else. There's a ton of animals still to see and lots of new stuff to love and learn. And to make sure I make my poignant point, I even hired a whole bunch of guys and gals dressed in their Sunday best. And because I don't speak a word of penguin, I also arranged to meet up with the zoo's Chief Life Science Officer, Scott Carter.
I was going to ask you, Scott, why come to the zoo off-season? But I think I'm seeing one really good reason why.
You're experiencing the best of the zoo in the winter.
Yeah, now, when I was a little kid, it was called the Penguinarium, but this is, what is it called now?
This is the Polk Penguin Conservation Center.
Incredible. I mean, the outside, the way it's designed, it looks, I'm guessing it's supposed to be a giant iceberg.
That's a good guess. That means the architects did their job. It is supposed to be a giant iceberg, a particular type of iceberg, a tabular iceberg, that you do see in the waters off of Antarctica. So the outside of the building looks like an iceberg. The inside of the building, of course, looks like the Antarctic habitat that these penguins live in.
Yeah, well, this is absolutely incredible. I mean, I've been to many zoos around the country, and I've never seen an exhibit like this. I mean, the penguins must have been thrilled when they came in here.
We think the penguins are pretty, well, we don't think. We actually have done science. We've done a lot of research with the penguins to understand their level of happiness, for lack of a better term. So we know the penguins are happy. We know that our guests are happy. The people that are coming to the zoo today get this huge window all to themselves. You come in the summer, of course, it's very popular. It's hot outside, it's cool in here.
Right.
And this building is just packed with people, and the experience is different.
Well, what are some other great reasons to come to the zoo off-season? Some other things they can see?
It's always on season for us, but there's a season where a lot of people just don't think about the zoo. But we're here all winter long. The animals, of course, are here every day anyway.
And some are actually more active in the winter, aren't they?
A lot of the species that you see at the Detroit Zoo are really cold weather species, like the polar bears and the wolves and the red pandas. It's a great time to see them because they're active, usually having a good time out in the snow, especially this winter.
Well, yes, we got tons of that stuff this winter. And you've got a brand new exhibit here too, right?
Absolutely. The Holtzman Wildlife Foundation Red Panda Forest. We've had red pandas for a number of years, but we just did a major expansion of that, and as part of that, we put in a rope bridge that people can cross over the top of the habitat. And when the pandas are up in their trees, you can cross at eye level with the panda. It's a great experience. I think you should probably do that while you're here today.
No, I think I've got the proper garb on for that.
I think you're going to do it.
And I was actually thrilled when we came in here today to see it's about 35, 38 degrees out. There's families out there with their kids, and they're all enjoying the zoo. Like you said, when it's not that crowded, there's space to move. You can get right up to the glass, right up to any exhibit you want to see. It's just a great time to be here.
It really is. There's plenty of places to go inside, just like we are, to get out of the cold. You can go into the Holden Reptile Conservation Center. We've done a lot of work in there to make those habitats a lot more expansive. It's a cool place to visit, cool place to warm up.
Well, I'm going to come to the zoo in the winter. Oh, I already did. I'm here.
You kind of did.
Right.
But we want everybody who's watching you, Tom, to come to the zoo in the winter.
Did you hear that? Come to the zoo. Don't wait till it's warm.
Tom says.
After an awesome Arctic adventure with the penguins, we roamed the grounds of the zoo and we were amazed and surprised how active the entire environment was. We saw all kinds of animals having fun in the sun, and even a healthy helping of humans. So if you've got a hankering to hear the call of the wild, whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall, the savage beast awaits you at the Detroit Zoo. And if that makes you a little scared, don't worry, even the not-so-savage ones will be here for you. Gosh, I think he misses you already.
You know, Traverse City is a great anytime town to come to. No matter the season, you'll find great natural beauty, great history, great shopping, and awesome eating. And if that's not enough for you, here's one more reason why you need to come here.
Just east of downtown Traverse City is a destination that'll literally bring music to your ears, because that's what this place is all about. Here at the Music House Museum, you'll find a super cool collection of restored antique musical instruments, early radios, and righteously retro recordings. In a classically restored 1909 dairy barn and a 1905 granary farmhouse, you'll also discover the history, artistry, and engineering of automated music. Now, to make sure I learn as much as I possibly can about these marvelous musical machines, I made an appointment with Becky Gagnon.
This is probably one of the most fascinating places I have ever set foot in. You must love being here.
I love being here, and we call it a hidden gem of Williamsburg, Michigan.
Not anymore, because we've been here. How did this whole collection start?
It began with a man named Dave Stifler. He and a couple of his associates were interested in automated mechanical musical instruments, so they started with a small collection in 1982, 1983, and you can see it's grown since then.
Now, these buildings are fascinating just in and of themselves. This was an old dairy
farm, exactly. The original barn was here in the 1870s, replaced by the new barn. We are standing in the new barn, and it dates to 1910.
Well, now this place, it's beautiful. I mean, I think I mentioned to you earlier, you could have a wedding in here, and apparently you do have weddings in here.
We do.
Right.
But the way it's laid out, it's almost like you step back in time.
Exactly, because our instruments date from the 1860s to about 1930, and they tell the history of automated mechanical musical instruments.
Automated mechanical instruments have always fascinated me because the amount of, and it was state of the art at the time, but the amount of engineering and work that would go into some of these machines to make them recreate what humans do.
Right, and you did have to have somewhat of a mechanical mind in order to manufacture these instruments.
How many do you have here?
I would say probably a collection of about 20, and we pick and choose on those 20 to play for our guests when they come through for a tour. Now, we've added to our collection just recently, so we have some new music boxes.
And this place is really much more than a museum, isn't it?
Oh,
It's really
absolutely.
it's about education and the history of these machines.
Correct. And we have added to our evening programs so that we not only have silent films, but we have concerts and we have educational programs spring and fall for children in the area.
Now, the giant piece that's upstairs, that they used to use those, what do they call those?
That's a Mortier dance organ, and it was built by the Mortier Company, 1922 in Ypres, Belgium.
And they would take those into giant dance halls and set those up, and they would play.
Correct. And if you didn't have a band available, of course, you always had the Mortier playing.
And it's run by, there's books inside that the machine reads the music?
Correct. And we also have, of course, digitized some of the music for preservation.
Okay, now you have to tell me how you got that thing in here.
All right. Very interesting. It comes apart in modules, 13 modules. We used ropes and pulleys to get it up to the upper level, and then we reassembled it.
How do you maintain, some of these things are well over a century and a half, 2 centuries old. How do you maintain them? Nobody makes these parts anymore.
No, they don't, but we have a wonderful man on staff, and we say we can't have our museum without Glenn. Glenn is our maintenance person. He makes sure that all of our instruments are up and running. If a belt breaks, he fixes that. He also works on bellows. Anything that we need Glenn for, he's available to us.
Well, after Becky gave me an awesome tour of the entire place, she sat me down at a piano that possessed the ghost of Gershwin. And I heard a rhapsody that blew my mind. So what's the significance of this awesome-looking piano?
This is our Weber Duo Art reproducing system.
Now, reproducing meaning?
That it's going to be able to reproduce a composer's piece in its entirety. And in the mid-20s, that really wasn't available until this instrument came along. It captures the dynamics of a performance, the color, interpretation, and phrasing of a piece of music.
So how hard they hit the keys, all of that is...
All the stuff is incorporated in the instrument. And you hear the performance the way the composer wanted you to hear his piece of music. For example, George Gershwin went into a recording studio and recorded Rhapsody in Blue. And after that was done, the roll was cut so it could be played on the Weber Duo Art reproducing system.
So it doesn't sound mechanical like a lot of the player pianos. It sounded like the actual artist playing.
It is, exactly. And you are exactly right. With a player piano, it's not generally the composer, but with the Weber Duo Art reproducing system, it is the composer actually playing.
I'd like to hear some Gershwin, please.
All right. And I always like to start with so you can see the machine in motion. And then we'll lift the lid so you can see the magic
Actually, see the ghost of Gershwin.
Correct.
Oh, look at the little bellows. Sounds like a real human being.
Very. We're sitting on Gershwin's ghost.
He's comfortable. Oh, there he is. The ghost of Gershwin.
And the magic of those fingers.
Music truly is the universal language. It connects all of us, knows no boundaries, and lucky for us, has absolutely no idea what season it is.
So come by the Music House Museum in Traverse City real soon. You'll love it. You ever get all anxious and tied up in knots waiting for summer to come? Well, don't do that. Get up, get out, and tie some real knots. Oh, and these knots are completely edible. Bavarian bonus.
That's right. If your family's got a case of the off-season offals, fear not, because the entire awesome and authentic German town of Frankenmuth is always open and always ready to render you happy. And one way they do it is with daily pretzel rolling classes at the historic Bavarian Inn and Restaurant. Now, these classes are great for both big and little kids. And all you need to bring is your love of a good pretzel. What's the secret to making one of these twisty, salty, and savory snacks? Well, don't ask me. I ain't been schooled yet. But lucky for me, I got some pre-class counseling from the master pretzel preparer himself, David Cawthorn.
You know, David, you know how I know you're a real German?
Why's that?
The hat. So how long have you been teaching pretzel making?
Well, I've been here off and on about 4 years. I've been doing it about 3 years solid.
Really? Yes. How many pretzels do you roll in a given day?
In a day, probably about 100.
Really? You ever get carpal pretzel syndrome?
No, I haven't had a chance of that, no.
It must be a lot of fun, though, when people come in, because, like, I've never made a pretzel. I can't wait to try, but it must be fun watching people, their reactions, how well they do.
Right, and we get people from all over the world, and then you get the kids, they smile and they love it, and then they cheer you on after you're done.
Awesome.
So it's a really nice experience for me.
Do you know the history of pretzels? I mean, are they really a German?
It is, yes. Way back in 610 AD, they actually started it.
16 AD?
610.
Oh, 610 AD?
610 AD, yes.
Oh my gosh, you got kind of a southern German accent.
Yes.
Now, when I'm done making my pretzel, you wouldn't know any place I could possibly get like a German beer to wash down my pretzel, do you?
Oh, of course I do. Right upstairs, we have a Michigan on Main bar that offers the nice breweries, dark German beer, and it's a great place to go as well.
And you're buying?
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, it was time to call class into session. And after David took a minute to impart some much appreciated pretzel logic, we all commenced to rolling, twisting, stretching, and trying to tie our delicious dough into the perfect pretzel. And as always, well, I was a bit of a class clown.
Are you going to be giving us pretzel logic? Are these prescription? Are we trying to cook these with friction heat? When do we add the salt? You know the nubs on the end? Those are my favorite part. How do I make those really big? Can I go ahead and eat mine now? Because I have someplace I have to be. Hey, mine looks like a pretzel. Danke, danke.
Now, once your nearly perfect pretzel is neatly tied, they're whisked away by a bona fide Bavarian Inn baker, baked to a golden brown, salted, and sent home with those who tied them. And if you eat it right away, there's no homework. Bonus. So if you've got a knot in your stomach, good for you. That just means that you took the pretzel rolling class at the Bavarian Inn in Frankenmuth. Now all I have to do is wait 20 minutes before you go in swimming. Or something like that.
Well, as you can see, Dave, as always, I end every show confused yet fulfilled. Now, I have to ask you, at the Dave household, that's what you call yourselves, right?
Yeah, correct.
The Daves.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I call it. My wife calls it something else.
Do you guys have a favorite season?
Well, you know, it's interesting. My favorite season is usually the one coming up next. As much as I love, where we are, I really do love all 4 seasons.
You know, I really think there's so much to do in Michigan, we need a 5th season.
Okay. Yeah. What would we call that then?
Well, we name everything else on the show Steve, so why don't we just call it Steve?
Or Dave. Or Tom.
I like Steve. But how are we going to fit it in? Do you have like a time condensing machine? Because mine's in the shop.
Okay. No problem.
You really have one?
No.
Oh, darn it. I could use one.
They say the perfect resting heartbeat 60 beats per minute. We couldn't agree more, most of the time. Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the purest of pure Michigan.
There's something special about the pride, the skill, and the passion it takes to build something great. The Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, understands that passion and has been providing contractors with the resources they need since 1885. A visit to the Stalls Automotive Museum will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. In addition to beautiful cars, enjoy the collection of gas pumps, road signs, oil cans, and other car-related accessories. Info at stallsauto.com.